I am a publisher, writer, editor, daughter, sister, auntie, dog mom, and many other things, including currently a cancer patient. But I am not a doctor or medical professional of any sort. What you are about to watch is an episode of my journey through cancer. I'm sharing my adventure with you in hopes that you'll find something here that's comforting and maybe even inspiring. This video is not intended to provide any sort of diagnosis or treatment plan. Please go talk with your doctor for professional medical advice. Last fall, a garbage truck ran into the house. The interior of the house has been repaired, new drywall and fresh paint, but the outside still looks like this, waiting for the brickworkers to come and finish their work. I think of this pile of rubble as a sort of metaphor. Last year, a cancer diagnosis shattered me, but I've been through treatments, and I'm doing the work, and incrementally, I feel as if I'm recovering. So I just pulled into my oncologist's office. It is port flush day today, which is not my favorite day. Not that it hurts to have the port flushed, but just the idea of putting a needle in your chest. Plus my port is just really protruding from my chest at this point because I've lost so much weight. So it's kind of cringe-making to have to deal with it. And I'd rather ignore it until, God willing, I can get it out this spring, maybe March, maybe April. So okay, I got to go in and get the port flushed. But the good news is that for the first time since this whole adventure began, I actually was able to drive myself the hour to my doctor's appointment. So I am driving again. I'm on the road again, people.
Do you have one more, or is this the last one?
Here we are in the hot seat again.
Are you going to take it for 3 days then?
Yeah, and I have that.
All right. Do you have enough for the next treatment?
Yeah, she gave me that.
On port flush days, it is definitely a venti soy latte and chocolate croissant day. Yes, I'm still on a keto diet. I am still starving any lingering cancer cells of the sugar that helps them to thrive. But on special days, Christmas and port flush days, you treat yourself. I only wish there was a really great bakery in the area so that I could get a really great chocolate croissant. But in a pinch, Starbucks will have to do. My doctors tell me I'm on track. My tissues, from what they can see, look healthy. I know that my healthy organs, the ones that were radiated along with the cancerous bits, are recovering, as I've got most of my bladder control back, which is no small thing. Anyway, we'll have to wait for my PET scan, my next PET scan, which is scheduled for March, to get more definitive answers. So what's next? What do I do while I wait on tenterhooks to have the PET scan and get the results? I'm finding that it is really, really hard not to dwell on what that report may contain, the different scenarios and options that may be presented to me in early spring. Although I remain optimistic and I am feeling good, there's just that little black cloud hanging over the back of you. I need lots of projects to distract me, and I've got a lot of them lined up. I'm taking them not slowly, but as methodically as I've ever taken anything in my life, because I'm dealing with chemo brain. Chemo brain is a side effect of chemo that is normally temporary, that happens during, but most especially after chemo, and for which there is no standard treatment except hopefully time. I'm still doing my lymphedema exercises daily. I am still enormously fatigued a lot of the time. I have a short attention span and difficulty concentrating, and my short-term memory is unreliable. Most frustrating for me as an editor and a writer is that I have trouble finding and verbalizing the right word. I have the sensation that the perfect word I'm thinking of is right on the tip of my tongue all day long. And I'm combating that by doing something that I have never done before with any regularity, which is using a thesaurus. And I'm not doing it to, choose a specific word from a menu, but to spark my own recall and creativity and by exploring the options. Anyway, the projects. I have 2 I want to tell you about today. In the very first post I made about my cancer adventure, I talked about how I had been toying with the idea of starting a YouTube channel that, for lack of a better word, documented a journey I wanted to take to get my energy back. I had gained a great deal of weight, and I was caretaking my mother, and I didn't have the stamina, the oomph to do the things I wanted to do and needed to do. Part of it was vanity. I wanted to be able to fit into my clothes again. But the part that really hurt was that I couldn't keep up. Literally, people had to either slow to my own snail's pace, or they would walk ahead of me and then have to stop periodically and wait for me to catch up. And, even walking and window shopping with a friend or family member, that had become a chore for me because it had become an embarrassing struggle. Well, the weight part is fairly under control at this point, though I have to say that in general, cancer is a ridiculous way to slim down. And also, the weight at that point in my life was in its own way a blessing because I had some extra padding on me and as I went into cancer treatment, so I could afford to lose the weight that cancer was going to claim. Anyway, that is to say that my first foray into YouTube was supposed to be about all the different aspects of aging more dynamically and vibrantly and all the issues that come down to sit in front of us as we age. And, things like gaining weight and losing oomph, to gaining random body hair and losing one's eyebrows and jaw definition and sense of balance, But I took a detour of all that for cancer. Well, I'm still on that detour, but it is also time to start looking ahead, trying to find the off-ramp I hope is going to appear one of these years. And I have to do it if only to distract myself while I'm recovering. So I joined a gym. I joined the gym at my local YMCA, which, as YMCAs go, in my experience, is quite a nice facility. And even better, my membership is free thanks to the fact that I am an AARP member and my medical insurance is through AARP. So I also signed up to work with a personal trainer at the Y, so I have the guidance I need to do the work on regaining my stamina and my balance and strength more correctly and most efficiently. I've been working with this trainer for about 3 weeks at this point, and I love him. He's knowledgeable and generous and extremely encouraging and fun too, and because, you don't want to do things that aren't fun, so that's a huge plus in my book. You'll meet him and get to know him in the Aging Vibrantly channel I am now working on launching. When will it launch? I'm shooting for some time in the early to mid-spring, though I have to say I'm not even sure what to call it right now. So if anyone has any suggestions about a catchy channel name for a YouTube channel about older people regaining their mojo, let me know. I would be delighted to hear your thoughts. The second project revolves more directly around my experience with cancer, specifically around how in the United States, getting your medical insurance to actually pay for treatments for a major medical crisis is a depressing, infuriating hurdle. that exacerbates the mental pain and potentially the prognosis of a serious medical diagnosis. I'm writing a book about this. Again, this project is in its early stages, and I'm in the process now of collecting stories from other people and patients who have had sort of the same experience with their insurers, and so with their ability to access treatments. And I'm researching how countries from the UK to France to Israel to Japan have more humane medical insurance programs, and what the United States could learn from them. Everyone, I think, who has been through a serious medical episode has a story like mine, and I want to hear those stories. If you have a story, please reach out. I have a dedicated email for this purpose, and I'll include it in the description. That's all for this week, except to say that I'm going to be spacing my posts on this channel a little differently, likely every 2 weeks or so, at least for the time being. There's no getting around that becoming a future cancer survivor requires daily attention. But the daily part and even the weekly part can be a slog and, for you, repetitive. So I'll be spacing posts around new developments and appointments with doctors when I'll have presumably more substantial news and or information to share with you. For example, within the next 2 weeks, I will have seen the oncologist who is responsible for my chemotherapy, the oncologist who is in charge of my radiation therapy, and a rheumatologist, new doctor, who will be giving me details about the extent of my osteoporosis and how to treat it and stop it in its tracks and reverse it. If you want to follow a deeper dive into what I'm calling the not safe for work aspects of cancer treatment and recovery, you can follow me on Patreon. That link is below as well. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in a couple weeks. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Also, don't forget to call your senators and your congresspeople to demand universal health care, and most importantly, don't forget to vote.